And Lisa, you're undermining your own romantic chances with Taylor. I hope you know that.
Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through Worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
We read the end of the Infestation arc, Infestation 11.8.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Pretty good, although Taylor ends being like, I'm optimistic. I'm like, Taylor, what a mistake.
I was going to ask about your level of worry based on Taylor's lack of worry.
I feel like it's like someone in a narrative saying, like, well, at least things can't get any worse.
Amazing.
She's like, I don't know, things might actually work out. I'm like, oh, Taylor.
I look forward to your
jinxed it.
Predictions.
No, this was a fun one. This was very like, are we human or are we supervillain? That was kind of the recurring theme. She dealt with some civilians. It's exciting times.
Good stuff. Well, would you like to
I would love
tell me,
to.
And by proxy our listeners,
yes,
more about what happens?
All right, so we start in Dr. Q's office. This does seem to be the doctor we've seen before. I don't know if that's ever actually established, but he is patching up Bryce, and there are a lot of other people around. So Taylor's there with Lisa. There's Bryce, of course. There's Charlotte, Minor, Senegal, Jaw, and Brooks, and then their two drivers. So the doctor kind of sends a bunch of them to stand guard outside to cut down on numbers. He works on Bryce's hand, and Taylor takes the opportunity. She's going to get patched up next, but she takes the opportunity to talk to Charlotte. Charlotte still looks terrified and is like, I don't know anything. You don't need to worry about it. And Taylor's like, yeah, that's obviously not true. And she's like, I don't want to know anything. Why did you bring me here? Why are you telling me this? And Taylor's like, look, you need to know this. This is not some kids in costumes running around. This is an organization. I am not top dog. Charlotte says, like, okay, so are you going to tell me that, like, if I ever open my mouth, you'll kill me? And Taylor's like, yes, I could do that, or hurt your friends and loved ones. And Charlotte totally deflates. And Taylor's like, no, but I'm not going to do that. And she offers her two possibilities. She says, like, I'm kind of improvising, but this is what occurs to me. You could leave. Are you staying with anyone? And Charlotte's like, yeah, my mom, but also her grandfather lives here, and he refuses to leave, which is why Charlotte and her mom haven't left. So Taylor says, okay, well, you could leave, or you could come work for me. And she outlines kind of what the deal would be if Charlotte did come work for her. She would not make her do anything illegal unless she wanted to. She would be safe. And, like, yeah, she would be helping Taylor, who is a criminal. But Taylor says, I think you'd be surprised at my approach. And Charlotte's like, okay, well, if you're not doing this bad stuff, like, what are you doing? And Taylor's like, well, you'd have to join up to get that information. And she leaves Charlotte to think about it. So then Dr. Q finishes patching up Bryce, turns to Taylor, and he's just about done cleaning her wounds, etc. when Jaw shows up with Sierra. Taylor had sent him to get Sierra. She goes to Bryce's bedside and has a conversation with Lisa where Lisa's like, I'm sorry. And Sierra's like, no, I understand. He got injured. It's fine. And Lisa's like, no, I'm sorry about what I have to tell you. And she tells her that he was not a victim of the merchants. He was one of the merchants. Sierra doesn't believe her and asks to see, quote unquote, her boss, Skitter. And Taylor's like, okay, am I going to reveal my face to someone else? I guess I am. And is like, over here. And talks to Sierra, says Lisa's telling the truth, talks to her about, like, you know, cults bring people in. This is kind of how this kind of group works. And then brings up the question of, like, what are they going to do with him? Sierra suggests, like, can't you keep him? And Taylor says, like, he would run away, although he can't really run back to the merchants. They might be done for, question mark. And Sierra's like, okay, well, can you lock Bryce up? And Taylor's like, I mean, yeah, but it wouldn't help. Like, he would just be more resentful and all more eager to run. She does also tell Sierra that the people he joined the merchants with, those people who attacked Sierra's room at the church, are no longer an issue, and kind of lets her believe that part of that is because of Taylor, which technically it sort of is, but I feel like she was stretching the truth there. But basically, they don't have any good ideas about what to do with Bryce, so she calls Lisa over, and Lisa suggests, like, well, let's give him what he wants. He wants excitement, a little bit of power. I'll recruit him. He can work for me. I'll have my soldiers keep an eye on him. I'll keep him away from Senegal and Brooks, who seem to be the troublemakers. And, once he has something concrete he's doing, he'll probably think it's cool. What kid doesn't want to be a secret agent? So Sierra's like a little bit on the fence about this. Can it be temporary, she says. Sure, but okay, but I want to join too so I can keep an eye on him. And Lisa says well, Skitter saw you first. And they sort of clarify the situation for Sierra, who's like, wait, don't you work for Skitter? And Lisa says they have different territories and says there are actually 9 territories, 9 villains, 9 territories. The city isn't getting better and the people in charge aren't up to the task, so we're taking over. So Sierra's like, I'm only interested in joining because I want to keep an eye on my brother, so I don't want to work for Skitter. And Lisa's like, here's the deal. You work for Skitter. I'll give you a contact number. You can always call whoever's babysitting Bryce. And you can, come visit him whenever you want. And honestly, because you're sort of in a parental position to him right now as the older sibling and the only really remaining family member, it's maybe best if you give him his space. So Sierra seems hurt by that, but does say yes and says, okay, but I can leave anytime. And Taylor's like, yep, that sounds good. So they shake hands on it. Lisa says to Taylor, I'll send Sierra your way. Once she's done visiting Bryce, I'll have one of the boys escort her. Taylor thanks her, hugs her, and then goes back to Charlotte, who seems to have arrived at a decision because she holds her hand out to shake Skitter's hand, accepting the deal to work for her. And Taylor asks a couple times if she's sure, and Charlotte's like, yeah, and they shake hands. So Taylor heads back to her territory with Charlotte. Things do seem quiet. Gru is there, so I guess Imp was watching his territory. Yells at Gru to put on his mask and introduces Charlotte as the new employee. Then they have a conversation. Brian's like, you're going a little fast with this whole territory thing. And Taylor says she'll explain later. She knows she doesn't have to, but she wants to. Charlotte's like, I'm in the way, right? Should I go? And Taylor sends her to the kitchen, which she's very excited about. And Brian lets Taylor know that Tattletale just called him after Taylor left the doctor's office, presumably following up on the discussion the two of them had before they went to the merchant's party about how Lisa read the situation wrong with Brian being interested in Taylor and didn't know that Taylor had confessed to him and all of this stuff. And apparently she called Brian a clod.
My goodness, Lisa.
And Taylor's like, I didn't want her to do any of that. And Brian's like, no, but I think she was right. I might have been a little hard-headed. And basically says he wants to call it even, which feels generous since he was maybe a little bit stubborn and or clueless. He basically says, do you want to call it even? I said before that maybe we could be best friends. I'd love to move in that direction again. And Taylor's like, yeah, that sounds great. And that's how they leave it. He says, maybe I'll drop by sometime. And Taylor's like, yeah. So she goes to the kitchen, finds Charlotte with toaster strudel and cookie dough, and tells her she can use the oven. And she reflects on, things aren't perfect, but they're better. She feels like maybe she's actually following through on her dream of becoming a superhero, even though she's also definitely a supervillain. But she's helping people, and as long as she doesn't think too hard about it, she can feel cautiously optimistic. That's where we leave Arc 11.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, where could it possibly go from here?
I was going to say, where could it possibly go wrong?
Isn't that the same question?
Yeah, she'll just impress Coyle in a few weeks. Coyle will agree to send back Dinah, and then Taylor can work for him for the rest of her life.
Yeah. Or at least for 2 to 16 years.
Why 2 to 16?
Well, until the world ends.
Oh, right. God, it's so hard to remember that the world is going to end. It's just not a focus of the story. Oh man, I would suspect that this book ends with the world ending, except that I know there's a sequel.
Interesting.
But maybe the sequel is an AU retelling in which Taylor joins the wards.
Interesting.
That would be fascinating. How would things go down with Sophia? Okay, I kind of want that to be the case now. Obviously, once I finish this, I suspect I'll want what happens next. That would be, I'll be so attached to this continuity, I'm going to want more. But I also am really fascinated by that AU.
I'm glad you don't know enough details to know whether or not this is plausible.
I know nothing about Ward.
Just the name.
Yes. Yeah. And I know that if people are looking for more Worm, it's not quite that. That's all I've heard.
Yeah.
So it's a good idea to pause between the two, is the rumor.
Yeah.
Anyway, world ending aside, I don't think things are going to go that smoothly for Taylor.
Well, do you want to get into some of your thoughts and predictions now, or should we circle back to that?
Let's circle back.
Right.
So yeah, this chapter is mostly figuring out what to do with these 3 civilians.
Yep.
And they all get recruited. I did not expect that.
She has minions.
She has minions. Employees.
Well,
Employees.
No, she does call Charlotte an employee to Gru, and then thinks to herself, is that the right word? And then later
Henchman?
she
Minion?
thinks to herself, my minion, later
Yeah,
on
but
in the
she also
chapter.
was like, I left my minion figuring out how to use the oven. Like, I think that was ironic.
I think she's settled on the word minions, which I think is a very good choice.
Well, you have read the books, so you would know.
I think that Charlotte and Sierra get to be minions.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool word.
Yeah.
That movie aside. Henchmen is awkward because, like, it's hench folk, hench girls, hench women. Like, it's like awkwardly gendered, but minion isn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Mignon.
Employee just suggests too much, like, paperwork.
Too much bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Too much HR.
Exactly. You have to tell the government about your employees.
Yeah, they have to fill out a W-2, or what do they have to fill out? An I-9? They need a handbook. Yeah. Maybe they're contractors.
Maybe they're contractors.
Then they have to cover their own employment taxes.
I think this is what we're really figuring out what the next arcs are going to be about here. Well, do you feel like this was a good outcome for all involved?
I think so. I'm really happy about Charlotte. She seems like she's like kind of willing to get on board.
Yeah.
She didn't have maybe a lot of other purpose, like she was a student, now there's no school. It didn't seem like she had a job that she was doing. And it seems like by the end of the chapter, or by the end of the scene in the doctor's office when she offers her hand to Taylor to shake, she's maybe gotten on board with the things that Taylor said to her about, like, I think you'd be surprised by how I'm doing it. I am basically trying to help people. And, you know, I'm not going to tell you the details, but then she watches Taylor negotiate with Sierra and maybe sees a little bit of how she operates. And she's like, oh, okay, I can get on board with her. And she has this context for Taylor as, like, a normal human also. Like, it feels like there's a lot of solid ground that something could be built on.
Yeah.
Taylor saved her. She now is keeping a secret for Taylor. Like, it feels like it could be a good relationship. It's funny because, like, we're trading in her living with the Undersiders, with these villains who, like, we became really invested in as a group, for her living with these 2 girls who, like, neither of which wants to be a villain.
Yeah.
Both of which, I would assume, like, Sierra outright said, like, I'm a pacifist, I see myself as a good person. Charlotte didn't say that outright, but, like, doesn't particularly seem like someone who's into villainy. So now Taylor has these allies who have maybe less of a foot in the villain world than she does. And Sierra, I think, is going to be a little bit of a problem because Sierra thinks she's actually evil. And they didn't quite... Did they have a conversation about... Well, no, Lisa did talk to Sierra about, like, no, Taylor's definitely trying to help people. The rest of us, you know, it kind of ranges from, like, we want to be part of the future status quo to, like, actually wanting to fix things.
Yeah.
And so at least Sierra has gotten that information. But she also thinks that Taylor helped in some way kill the 3 people that her brother was hanging out with.
Yeah.
On Sierra's order. So, like, she's going to think of Taylor as part of this, like, guilty part of her own conscience here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, like, it's funny, it's so misleading. Like, I feel like Taylor letting Thomas die was, like, almost like, not even a thing because, like, he was going to die anyway.
Right.
And I recognize that for Taylor, it has moral significance that she didn't give the order. She specifically gave the order to, like, not help him. But, like, this dude was gonna die.
Yeah.
The other 2 were already dead. Any impression Sierra has that Taylor was actively involved in this is, like, grossly exaggerated at best. But, like, of course, Taylor feels guilty about it, and she said she was gonna own it, and she's not willing to brush it off. And so Sierra, because of that, like, admirable part of Taylor, Sierra now has the impression that Taylor is worse than she is. And I think her top priority is going to be looking out for Bryce. But I wonder if she even would be, like, some kind of whistleblower.
Oh, yeah.
I think maybe that's the kind of far-fetched possibility that, like, I suspect this particular work is not going to explore. Maybe, but, like, probably she will see what Taylor's doing and how she's doing it, form her own conclusions. I don't know what Taylor's going to do.
The idea of someone joining a villain gang, knowing all along that they disagree with it morally and making their peace with it by thinking they're going to turn them into the authorities later is something that we have seen. So that's an interesting, predicting Sierra as a foil for Taylor in that way.
Taylor 2.0.
The thing about Taylor's, ambiguous ownership of that moment, right? She thinks, if I said yes, would she be horrified? If I said no, would she see it as a failure on my part? And then Taylor leaves it vague, and Sierra frowns. And
probably because she doesn't have any idea what she's saying.
Yeah.
But you're right that it is mostly a strategic decision.
Yeah, and she is so focused on maintaining her reputation, I guess. And she's not really thinking about what it will mean to Sierra in this moment, which is an interesting blind spot.
Yeah, right. I mean, I feel like what I would have advised her to say in that moment is, like, the work was pretty much done by the time I got there, which, like, it's not a failure on her part.
Yeah.
That's not going to look like, oh, you're weak, you couldn't hurt them. But, like, she really didn't, there was nothing left for her to do.
And I think it's that Taylor's weakness is, like, it's not that she's unwilling to lie, right? She's very capable of lying when she has a strategic reason. Like, she lies to Charlotte saying, like, well, my psychic friend, and we have contacts in the FBI, like, trying to make them seem all-powerful so she won't, flee and then talk later, right? So she doesn't have any problem lying that way. But in this moment, like, her go-to is just to be authentically herself. Mm-hmm. And because she has a moral hang-up about what she did with Thomas, she has to kind of hedge, and it puts out this really weird, confusing thing. Yeah. Whereas, like, if she just said the facts to Sierra, Sierra wouldn't be like,
two of them were dead, one of them was dying, and I
let Thomas die, and that's so cold-hearted. She'd be like, oh, it sounds like they died. It sounds like the merchants killed them. Right?
Yes. Yeah, so I do think that's going to come back.
Yeah, okay. So Charlotte maybe more...
I'm feeling like Charlotte's a more reliable ally right now.
Right, and
Sierra's going to be trouble.
Sierra's going to be trouble. Well, it's interesting also then the way Lisa kind of pawned Sierra off on Taylor, right? It was very much like Sierra doesn't quite understand the situation, right? She thinks maybe Skitter's the only one in charge. There are multiple territories, but Tattletale says, like, well, she saw you first, like, hate to break it to you, but I feel like my read on that is Lisa's very much like, nah, I don't have a use for Sierra. And that could be like, she doesn't want Sierra, or it could be like, well, she'll fit better with Taylor, or she'll be less of a problem for Taylor or something. Mm-hmm. But I do kind of wonder if the fact that Sierra maybe has a Taylor-like sense of morals is something that Lisa doesn't want to bother with, and comes up with a good reason for her to not be following Bryce around all the time.
Yeah, well, because she thinks that she can handle Bryce.
Yeah.
And maybe she does recognize that Sierra would be a problem. Maybe she doesn't want to... If Sierra's a problem, she doesn't want her to have access to all the information that is Lisa's main purpose.
Yeah.
I could see that being her reasoning.
And, of course, her reasoning about Bryce and Sierra not living together is also pretty solid.
Yeah. But I was kind of forgetting how much Lisa lies, because, like, she was like, I'd love to have a new recruit, but Taylor saw you first. Like, I kind of took that at face value, but, like, I think you're right that she didn't want her.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Like, Sierra's not going to get along with the other soldiers.
Oh, God,
and
no.
Bryce is going to think, Senegal is cool, right? Like, it's, and Lisa's going to try and keep them separated or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But it's a totally different dynamic.
Can I talk about my favorite Lisa moment in this chapter?
Please do.
If anything calmed me down, it was seeing Lisa with the two squad leaders. She laughed a little and put her hand on the arm of the other squad captain, Fish. When she caught me looking her way, she smiled and gave me a wink. This is Lisa saying, "Don't worry, I'm just flirting for effect. I'm really a lesbian."
And later when Sierra says, wait, she's not your boss, she says, partners, believe it or not.
Oh man, maybe this is why she made Shaw and Brooks be a couple, because she just, likes having queer representation in the group because of her own identity.
Yeah.
This is why she doesn't date.
Wait, say more?
Well, I guess she could date women, but just because she's like, ugh, people are gross or whatever, and it's because she's not out, and so she hasn't been dating.
Yeah.
Maybe she sent Sierra to Taylor because she knew she would get a crush on Sierra. No, I don't think so.
Well, yeah, so I love that. I love that you're seeing Smugbug everywhere.
Yes, yeah. I mean, there's stuff there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they really, it's a strong relationship.
It's a real Smugbug arc.
Well, why does seeing Lisa buoy Taylor?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think it's Lisa has a good rapport with her soldiers. She's doing well with her territory. I feel like Lisa seeming calm and in control of the situation.
Yeah.
Makes Taylor feel better.
That's such an interesting
But maybe it's just seeing Lisa.
Well, no, of course. But we know, right, Taylor's kind of like an open book. Everybody sees on her, whatever she's feeling or not feeling at any given moment. And we know that Lisa is so good at putting on a happy face. And here we see Taylor being like, oh, Lisa's happy. Okay, that makes me feel better. When, just because Lisa is acting this way or performing this way doesn't necessarily mean...
Right. Her seeming to flirt with this captain is more likely a sign that things are unstable. And she's trying to bring them under control.
Yeah, that is fascinating.
But maybe it is just seeing Lisa calmed her down.
Yeah. And I do love, there's another moment between them that I really love. At the end, she thanks Lisa.
Yeah.
Right? And we had the moment where Charlotte thanked Taylor, and that was a big deal.
Oh, true.
And then Lisa waves it off. She grins and says, no problem. And then Taylor gives Lisa a quick hug. And it's just a very nice moment between these two friends.
Mm-hmm. Should we talk about Taylor's humanity and her supervillainy?
Definitely.
Yeah. So there were so many moments in this that brought that out. Sierra walks in and she sees Taylor, realizes she's Skitter, and there's sort of a moment of shock, and then she's like, you're hurt. And Taylor's like, wow, did I seem so bad that that overshadows her seeing my actual face? And then she's like, oh, or is it just the idea that a supervillain is someone who can get hurt? And I think she's probably onto something that Sierra had only met Skitter in the mask, and on the scariest day of her life.
Yeah.
And now she's seeing Taylor, the 15-year-old girl, kind of beat up and sitting in a hospital bed. What a contrast.
Yeah.
And Charlotte is so funny because she's the reverse. She knew Taylor-ish in high school. She knew her enough to recognize her. And she gradually came to see the supervillain identity during this arc. And when they're having this conversation, Charlotte's saying, you saved my life, and then you're a villain. And it's such a pigeonholing thing of oh, I'm putting this label on you, and that's what you are in my mind now. And it's so funny that over the course of the chapter, she moves away from that. Mm-hmm. It is almost the opposite journey that Sierra went on, where she first saw scary Skitter, and then she saw Skitter making tea and was like, what?
Yeah.
And then she saw human Skitter on the bed, or human Taylor on the bed. And Charlotte knew human Taylor and then realized she was Skitter. And then I guess she kind of had a bell curve shaped arc here, where she's like, oh, but she does seem to kind of be the sort of reasonable person that she's telling me she is. I'm seeing evidence of this. Oh, okay. And then she's making cookies in her kitchen at the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something just connected for me. I feel a little bit of the way that Sierra acts in this moment is she comes into this room and sees that these random teenagers appear to be in charge. And she's 20, right?
Right, yeah.
And so I'm realizing a lot of her behavior, she starts raising her voice with Lisa before Taylor steps in, and then she says, you got hurt. I also wonder if she's seeing like, oh, Skitter's like just a teenage girl.
Yeah.
And a
Skitter's
little
a
bit of
kid.
her like she steps into this mode of like, well, I'm the adult here, which means I should be calling the shots. I need to make sure that Bryce is okay. I need to do all this other stuff. And so I do feel like some of what makes her not fit in is probably the moral sensibility that she doesn't want to get her hands dirty, but also this like, this is an operation being run by a bunch of teenagers, and actually somebody who's like 3 or 4 years older might be the worst person to have around just in terms of like
that's so
intrinsically
true.
taking
Yeah.
orders, right? Like the soldiers don't care. They're just doing their jobs,
yeah.
right? But like a normal adult, like a normal young adult is not going to want to listen to a bunch of teenagers.
It's going to be a problem. It is funny, like, I feel like a thing you run into in books a lot is a thing where the characters are all really good at telling each other's ages. Like, I feel like if you put a bunch of people from 15 to 20 in front of me and asked me to, like, order them by age, I would get it so wrong.
Yeah, but we're old now. If you were 20, you would be much better at telling a freshman in high school apart from a senior in high school.
No, because the thing is, like, people just look different. Like, people wear their age differently. Like, I really don't think that Taylor can necessarily tell. Like, especially, like, I feel like it's believable that she can tell that Gru is a few years older than her, because those are such formative years for guys.
Yeah.
But, like, a girl between 15 and 20, like, 20-year-olds on average will look very different from 15-year-olds, but, like, that's just such pinpoint precision to be able to give it.
I don't know. Like, my experience was until I was about 30, I was very good, I felt, at being able to tell whether somebody was older or younger than my sister, who is 2.5 years younger than me. And
maybe I was just
by
never
the
that good at
time we
this.
got into our 30s, you know, like, it stopped. Like, now I'm much worse at it. But I did feel consistently throughout my 20s that I could meet people and be like, oh, this is somebody my sister's age or younger. Or this is somebody who's, you know, plausibly my age. And that was the dividing line for me. I mean, you know, like, whether it's 26, 27, 28, you know, like, that is a degree of precision that doesn't make sense. But
yeah, no, and I don't think we're seeing that degree of precision here.
there's nothing really in the text that supports the idea that Sierra is reacting to them as teens, but I do feel like it's consistent with her behavior.
Yeah,
it's an interesting...
And 15 is pretty young. Like, presumably she can tell that Taylor is still a kid.
Yeah. And right, you got hurt, right? The sense in which it's like, oh, you're not the invincible supervillain Skitter.
Right.
You're this person with a big bruise on her face who needs stitches.
Yeah.
I do really love how injured Taylor is and how many times it comes up. Like, when she first comes in, she's like, well, yeah, the doctor was looking at Bryce, and I guess I'm going to go second. Lisa said I needed to go second, and that was really good because Lisa could talk to the soldiers and I could talk to Charlotte. And it's like, no, it's good because
Lisa's worried about
you are the most injured other than Bryce. Like, right, so, like, it's so nice Lisa's looking out for her, but she is underestimating her own injury, and then, like, when she's getting the stitches and, like...
Yeah, she needed stitches.
Yeah, and she just thinks, ugh, I got more stitches in my arm this time, which was fun. I also got to see every single one of my cuts and scrapes fizz with foam as he, the doctor, disinfected my injuries, which stung like hell. And
Sounds like there were a lot of them.
Yeah, it's like, it's so funny that she's so blasé. And, like, it reminds me in the last chapter, she was like, oh, it hurts so much. Like, she's, like, scaling these 12-foot walls and stuff. And then... But she just has this thing, is like, and I'm still wearing my fucking contacts, which I hate, right? Like, she just has this really funny, blasé attitude about it. And it's like, she's had worse, right? Like, she got exploded way back in Arc 4. Leviathan broke her back, and she got healed by right? Like, so
true.
It kind of makes sense, but it's also very funny and feels very much part of her new identity. That she just like is willing to take a lot more hurt than anybody.
And it's funny how much she is living in that new identity now. Like, she's like, oh, I guess she can see my face. I'm not that attached to, like, Taylor as a persona.
Yeah.
Though this might make it harder for me to go home again. I'm like, yes, Taylor.
Yeah.
That's the danger.
I mean, I feel like this is where we leave her, is she is really developing a synthesized new identity where she's mostly Skitter, but Skitter gets to be
sort of a hero in some ways.
Sort of a hero in some ways.
Yeah.
And I guess, so my big thought about this chapter is we get a lot of redux of beats that Taylor went through earlier in the story, but where she is now the authority figure.
Oh.
So this is
on.
another hospital scene where somebody delivers an ultimatum in the form of a choice saying like, well, you can leave
oh my
or
gosh.
you can work
yes.
with me. Right? And here she gets to be legend. And it's also a redux of her dynamic with Danny, with Sierra and Bryce, where it's like, oh, well, couldn't you guys just keep him prisoner until he changes his mind? And then they find like another way out.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, you have to keep your distance, right? Like all of this type of stuff. And I mean, in some sense, the whole arc is about her being a little mini coil and doing it better.
And
so,
I mean, we had the moment that very explicitly called back to her joining the Undersiders, where she tells Charlotte, like, I can't really tell you that until you join up.
Yes.
And you were just saying Sierra is someone who's like going to potentially join a supervillain gang with like the intention of turning everyone in.
Yeah. So my question to you is, do you think Taylor is living up to her end of arc 8 goal?
Of doing it better?
Doing it better. Is she being a better authority figure in this arc, in this chapter?
That's funny. I don't know that any of the moments we just mentioned are ones that involve the people she said she wanted to be better than. Like,
that's true. Coil writ large. But yeah, Danny and Legend are not high on her list.
Yeah. But I do think she's doing well. Like, I feel like I wasn't quite expecting her to even come down so hard on Charlotte, where I'm like, well, what can she really do? But it does seem like she had more plans, or at least felt like something more needed to be done. I feel like she, within the limitations that of necessity that she, are sort of part of her situation of like, Charlotte can't just go out there and start talking about me. I feel like she's fair to her.
Yeah.
And I think that she's fair to Sierra and Bryce. Like, it does feel like she is doing her best to offer people the best options she can figure out. I don't know if she's doing better than Legend, but I don't know. I also don't know that she needs to. Like, I feel like Legend's options were actually pretty reasonable. It was just that he was missing a piece of information that Taylor had.
Yeah. Yeah, and Charlotte feels in a much less dramatic way, but she feels also like it's not really a choice for her. Because she has this story about basically like, but I can't leave my family, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Her grandpa, you know, is unwilling to leave and he needs help. And so Taylor's like, well, you can leave or you can do this other thing.
True,
and so like circumstances mean it's not a choice for her.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as dramatic as Taylor saying, send me to the birdcage, I don't care. But she is kind of putting Charlotte in this situation where there's only one option. And I do think Charlotte comes to terms with it by the end.
Yeah.
To me,
and Taylor really asked her several times, are you sure?
Yeah, to me, what Taylor is doing really well is like the reasonable communication, the like hearing out Sierra's concerns, and this notion that it is temporary. This idea of like, oh yeah, you know, this is what we're doing for now, but we can revisit it later. You know, like the at-will employment part of it. Very different from becoming a ward or joining a gang, being
or going
in a
to
cult,
the birdcage.
Right. Yeah, so to me, that is maybe more the test, right? Like when Taylor needs something from Sierra and Charlotte that they are like objecting to for practical or moral reasons, right? Like, what will she do? Or like,
good point.
When Sierra is like, great, I've made enough money, I'm taking Bryce and leaving. Will Lisa be like, sure.
Rubber hasn't hit the road yet. Yeah.
Right. So like, I feel like that's kind of the piece of it. But there's a lot of promise here in the reasonableness with which they say like, yeah, I get it, but like work with me here.
And Charlotte has information that Sierra and Bryce don't have. Sierra will presumably have a lot more information, but the deal with Sierra is sort of like, well, what are we going to do with Bryce? And I mean, I guess in theory they could just let Bryce go. Like, he doesn't have any compromising information. He didn't really do anything terrible himself that he like needs to be punished for. It's kind of just like, how are we going to solve the problem of keeping him from getting back with this bad crowd, I guess.
Right.
Like, how are we going to...
How are they going to parent him, right? Like, he's the teen who's running off and joining a gang.
So if Sierra wants to take Bryce and leave, like, is that a problem?
Well, I don't know.
I'm not sure. Yeah, like Charlotte leaving would be more of a problem, explicitly, Taylor says at this point. Charlotte's continuing to live in the city, I guess, and not leaving.
And this is also, it's a little bit of we're not really thinking about the next steps, right? But it's like, okay, so like, let's say all this is going great for a year, right? Taylor's like, well, does she have a secret identity, right? Like, is she going back with her dad? Like, what is the long term, like, let's say Dinah goes free. It's like, okay, she's still working for Coyle forever. Can villains retire? There are all these kind of questions about the future that, like, of course you're not thinking about that.
I mean, she's very explicitly not thinking about that. Like, at the end, she's like, if I didn't think too hard about it, I was cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Where's the caution in that? But I do feel like she has set Dinah as this end goal, and it's a crutch. Like, it's her viewing this as the absolute most important thing because it saves her from thinking of the more complicated question of, like, how do I act as a hero in this world where I don't like or trust the heroes and the villains are the people that I like and am currently involved with?
Yeah.
And that question is so much harder than how do I save Dinah, even though she clearly hasn't come up with a good answer to that question either.
And in the meantime, while she is using this crutch, she is finding the day-to-day supervillainy very satisfying.
Oh, yeah. She finally feels like she got to help someone. Like, helping Sierra and Bryce... She says there was no ulterior motive. I don't know if she was specifically talking about that because there was sort of the motive of, like, getting control over her territory. Though I guess she didn't have to say yes to Sierra in the first place.
Yeah, definitely with Charlotte, that was more of a just like...
But Charlotte was just like, she needs help. Yeah. She's in front of me. I'm not going to feel okay if I don't save her. And she saves her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So she really is. I mean, I've said before, like, she's helping this territory. She's saving people. She finally got a thank you for it.
Yeah. Have we seen a hero in the story do what Taylor did? Just, like, save a random innocent person?
Shadowstalker and Flechette did.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So it happens.
It does happen, yes. Clock Blocker talked about...
We met Glory Girl, like, beating down that Nazi scum.
Right,
like,
who had beat up an innocent
save the
person.
but
right. But Panacea does heal that girl, so... Yeah, so the heroes do that. But, yeah, there are systemic problems on all sides. Anyway, yes, the point is, Taylor is loving the supervillain life. She's got a great lair. She's got a friend to make cookies with now. Her spiders are going to be able to open the doors to their cages themselves. It's going to be so cool.
So cool. Oh, my God. What did you think about our little scene with Brian?
Oh, yeah. God, I almost forgot. There's so much other stuff. I was really surprised. Like, it seems fast.
Yeah.
Like, I guess Lisa was really convincing over the phone. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what does that do for you? What do you think about it?
I feel like Smugbug was really being set up as like, yeah, this is going somewhere. Because he has gotten back, apparently, to the point where he's like, yeah, I could potentially be best friends with you. And it makes me think that, like, his anger after the hospital revelation was... maybe more of a sense of hurt than a sense of, like, you're a totally different person than I thought you were.
Yeah.
Because the former can fade, and the latter, you kind of need a lot more evidence.
Yeah.
And so I guess it was the former, and he is willing to kind of accept that he knows and understands and trusts her again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, notable to me... Brian's face is not visible at all in this scene, right? He has to put on his helmet because Charlotte's around. And I don't know. Yeah, I agree that it feels very fast. We haven't gotten really any Gru time since that little bit in Arc 10 when she rejoins. And there he's very skeptical.
Yeah.
And he kind of walks off at the end being like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can make up one day.
But it's not going to be today.
It's not going to be today.
Yeah.
Right. And they haven't had really any one-on-one time that we've seen. And so this is really the first time. And it is very noticeable how quickly he is trying to patch things up in this scene. And so...
maybe it's just that he's spending so much time with Aisha and he's like, wow, I wish I were hanging out with Taylor instead.
hey, you know what? Well, because part of his whole thing with turning her down.
Yeah, I see you like a sister. Now he's hanging out with his sister and he's like, oh God, they're not the same.
I actually don't feel the same way about Taylor that I feel about Aisha, right? Like,
because the way he feels about Aisha is like love, responsibility, annoyance, frustration.
Right.
And the way he feels about Taylor is like
deep respect,
appreciation, affection, enjoying her company.
Yeah. So I also, there's this fascinating element of it where he says, like, you've got to slow down. I only heard what you'd done. You know, like, he's like, I barely had time to get started.
I couldn't tell if that was like, oh no, you're going too fast, or like, man, you're showing us up. Like,
well, I think it's more the latter. I think he's impressed with her, but I think he's feeling a little threatened or like a little competitive, maybe. Yeah.
It's like, oh crap, she's really showing us up.
And it's also that, like, they're the Undersiders and I'm the new leader of the Undersiders dynamic. Right?
I
like,
forgot.
he gets to be important, but he actually never got that. They did one mission where he was in charge, and now they've all been split up.
Yeah, they're still technically the Undersiders.
Yeah, and so he doesn't really have that power dynamic in his favor in the same way, and I think that probably puts him a little bit on the back foot in this interaction as well.
Because Taylor was like the new kid, and he was the one showing her the ropes, teaching her how to fight hand-to-hand combat. Like, he was like the smart one, and now she's like, you know, student becomes the teacher.
Yeah,
she's
and then
racing ahead.
He says this: if you're pushing yourself this hard to prove yourself to me,
you wish, buddy.
Right? It's a little conceited, and I think that also she's
like, no, that's not even on my radar.
Right, and she really hasn't been thinking about him at all this arc, right? So
not at all.
So it's, and I do feel like there's a Smugbug vibe. Charlotte feels it. She's like, maybe I should go to the other room so you guys can be alone.
Oh, see, I figured part of it was just like, oh, the supervillains need to talk now.
I mean, yeah. And when he's like, so do you want to call it even? I said it before, but I thought maybe we could become best friends somewhere down the line. I'd like to go there again if you're willing, if it's not awkward.
She's like, no, it's not awkward.
And he's like, good. He clapped one hand on my shoulder. A sign of camaraderie, friendship, with the subtle effect of reinforcing that I was at arm's length? Or was I reading too much into things?
Definitely overthinking it.
I could live with it. It was worlds better than the quiet hostility and hurt I've been sensing from him as of late. Is it cool if I drop by sometime, he asked? So we can keep each other up to speed. You know, so like...
Netflix and chill?
Yeah. So he then like invites himself over. So he's rushing through this encounter. It is very much a really awkward, you know, he's like, I'm gonna go to sleep. Long day. Take care of yourself, all right? And then he's out of there, right? So he's feeling awkward in this moment and needs to get out of there. It felt like he really needed to level set and make sure that they are okay. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he got that established, he fled. And so, like, it feels like probably what's the easiest explanation is he's feeling a lot of things and he doesn't really know what to do. And this is a little bit of flail Brian right now in this moment. But I could see this as a very much like, I don't need this drama right now, and he's trying to paper it over. But I could also see it being like, him being like, ha ha ha, oh, okay, don't move on. Like, don't move on. You know, like...
I'm still here, I still like you.
Yeah, we can be friends again, and I'll come over later, right? Like, I feel... And then he's like, cool, okay. And now, before I say, you know, before I confess to you, or before I say something blockheaded again...
What did Lisa say to him?
Yeah. Okay, well, so, Lisa... How dare you? That is my reaction. Like, how did you feel?
Of course she dares. It's Lisa. This is exactly the kind of thing she would do.
But one of the things that I really like about Lisa and Taylor's friendship is that they respect boundaries. And this is crossing a boundary that Taylor pretty explicitly said, right? Did Taylor specifically say
don't talk to him?
I would have to go back.
I don't remember that.
I would have to go back. Yeah. That's fair. But it's the spirit of the thing. I feel like Taylor must have said or indicated, I don't want you to meddle in this. I wouldn't want you to meddle in this. It's fine. And so... Right. Well, what she says is, I told her not to interfere. So I don't think Taylor's misremembering that. Yeah. Right. And so. Yeah. I.
And Lisa, you're undermining your own romantic chances with Taylor. I hope you know that.
Well, I don't
You're
know.
setting her up with two girls that she could potentially fall for, and you're trying to put Brian in her path again.
Yeah, but also Lisa probably knows, about how much Taylor picks her nose and, like, is squicked out by that. There's a...
Lisa, you have to accept the humanity of the people you fall in love with.
Yes. I totally understand, especially at this age, characters have very fluid identities and haven't really figured out, like, could easily be the sort of, like, oh yeah, you're gay and you haven't come out yet, or, like, you assume you're straight, even though you're missing all of the blinking warning signs. And, like, Lisa's power could squick her out about people, or it could be her rationalizing because she's ace, right? There's a lot that's on the table here. Mm-hmm. I just feel like the other Brian thing is that he sees her injured again. And so then he's immediately put back into that, like, I must protect, right? Like, so, like, even though he's trying to maybe move beyond the sister thing, I feel like he's also, like, it's like, oh my God, you're getting yourself hurt, you're proving yourself and putting yourself in danger. It's very much like Taylor being like, Brian, you're so hurt. Like, are you sure we can go fight Empire 88 right now? Yeah. Right. And then he passes out. Yeah. Right? Like, so
she was right about that.
But he's giving it back to her here a little bit. Yeah. I am very much into this reading of Brian on this reread. I'm not, it's not conclusive here, but it is fun to think about what is going on under the mask.
Right, and he does say, like, I was being hard-headed. Presumably he's talking about after the revelation that she was going to betray them all initially.
Yeah.
Potentially he's also talking about when I turned you down, but he doesn't specify.
Yeah.
So.
This thing about he's been spending a lot of time with Aisha, and that's made him realize his feelings are different. I think that's solid.
I do love that.
I think that's solid.
He's like, can't I just live here with Skitter instead? I did want to talk a little bit about Lisa's description of what they are doing. So first of all...
Oh, yeah. We did sort of get an answer to something you'd been speculating about. 9 villains, 9 territories.
Oh, yeah. So I assume that she's telling the truth there because she's trying to recruit Sierra to work for them. So presumably she's not trying to lie about what the larger group is doing. But there are 6 Undersiders, but only 5 territories.
Correct.
So maybe she's not counting Imp in that.
I think so.
So there are probably 4 other villains?
Yeah.
Question mark? I guess. So who did we have? We had, well, I mean, are we counting Coil?
No.
Probably not. So Circus was one of them.
Could be.
Oh, but what about, I mean, the Travelers, but I guess they're not getting territories? They are Travelers, so maybe they
did talk about making their play to the Travelers. The Undersiders and the Travelers were the ones mentioned when Taylor was reflecting on that.
Are there only 4 of them?
Trickster, Genesis, Sundancer, Ballistic.
Oh, yeah, okay. Maybe there are just the 4 of them. And then the girl in the vault. Yeah. Huh. Okay. But then what's Circus doing?
Who knows? Maybe she's been deputized like Trainwreck to go work
Right. She might be spying on someone.
Yeah.
Because I assume Trainwreck isn't trying to get his own territory right now.
Well, right. But after the merchants blew up, who knows?
Question mark dissolve. Yeah, maybe he will. But probably Lisa isn't including him in the list right now. So, okay, I guess those are the Travelers. I kind of felt like the Travelers were bigger, but I guess they aren't.
Yeah.
So she says, city isn't getting better. People in charge aren't up to the task, so we're taking over. That sort of describes Coil's plan, though it puts it in the context of, like, in the wake of Leviathan's attack, where that's not really... It's definitely misleading.
Yeah. You're trying to fix things. Some of us. Most of us. Some of us want to help like Skitter there, and others are doing it because we know that when things are up and running again, we're going to be a part of the status quo. Lisa grinned. She's
positioning herself as part of that latter group of, like, doing this, like, out of a desire for power, position, sort of an amoral thing, like, not to fix things, not to do horrible things either. And it just fits so much with her cops and robbers thing. It fits with what we've seen from her as being willing to support Taylor's plays for morality, but not seeming to side with them. And I just really appreciated it as a reinforcement of that part of Lisa's character where she is unwilling to at least outwardly claim any moral stance.
Right, because we can read into, she's creating a shelter, some like pro-social stuff, but she doesn't.
But she's not claiming
that.
Yeah. I did also want to talk about the merchants. We had kind of speculated before, like maybe this is just all stuff we've said before. Taylor does explicitly say, like, they might not be around anymore, which is a strong claim. Like, I did say last time that, like, this isn't the kind of group that has, like, a polished, shiny reputation to, like, hold on to.
No.
So I don't know that this is going to destroy them, because it's, like, such a haphazard...
No, and again,
group.
It's like what happened with the ABB. Lung went down and Bakeda broke him out. You know, like it's...
Right, but this is like they got humiliated and maybe people aren't gonna... But
yeah, I mean, Kaiser died and now there's 2 factions in Empire 88,
so
right? Like it's...
I would be surprised if the merchants were gone.
Yeah.
They probably... It will change what they look like you're kind of saying.
It is, but like, you know, there's also a thing of like, were the merchants building a ton of momentum and like quickly becoming the number 1 threat in the city? And is this a huge setback to that? Probably.
And I think so. Because I was earlier in this arc, I was like, oh no, they're creating all these caves. Oh man, this is going to be really bad. And then they got attacked and humiliated. And I was like, oh, bye merchants. Like,
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Yeah, I think... I feel like there are plenty of comeback stories that Taylor's not considering, but I sort of agree in the short term.
Yeah. Right. They'll probably remain an element, but maybe not a main concern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can only hope. They were pretty gross.
Oh, they were awful. And we focused so much on them in this arc. This feels like it was their moment in the spotlight. And maybe we'll back off now.
Right. Oh, yeah. I did want to call out for you something, some little crumb of hope for you, right? So
for me,
she thinks to herself, at least I made some headway on impressing Coyle. And I was like, big sigh, like, come on, Taylor. But then she thinks, I was on speaking terms with Brian. I was making headway on my plans. Lisa was making headway on her end of things. And in some small way, I felt like I'd finally followed through with that dream I'd had at the start of the year of being a superhero. And I was like, on Lisa's end of things? Like, what is exactly this? This isn't quite like Lisa's making a good play with her territory. Like, maybe it's just she's flirting with that soldier, and that means she's got everything under control.
Or she's doing a lot of research, and that's cool. She's finding a lot of stuff out.
But I was like, is this a little crumb of hope for they have plans together? Like,
Maybe Lisa needs to seduce Fish to get into Dinah's room.
Yeah, so like, you know, but it comes right after she's like, you know, I got to impress Coyle, which still, I still can't connect the dots between the fact that she keeps thinking about that and the potential.
The secret plan. I've given up on the secret plan.
Fair. I wanted to offer it to you to keep the hope alive.
Once I realized how much she was thinking of Dinah as a one-off and that other than Dinah, Coyle would be fine as a ruler, I was like, oh no, okay, she has just fallen into this, like, short-sighted delusion.
Yeah.
It's because she's 15, as I can tell from looking at her.
It was so funny to me the way that they talk about Bryce. Like, well, he's a teenager. Like, you can expect... Well, doesn't every teenager want to be a secret agent? And I was like,
that's
Taylor, you want to be a superhero, right? Like,
you are a secret agent.
It's so funny. It's so teenager to like, I understand teen behavior when it's other people.
Well, right, because teenagers know everything. Yeah.
Do you feel anything about Taylor blurring this line between Taylor and Skitter? Like, this worry that she's like, well, I'm kind of worried about my secret identity in theory, but I'll let the sand fall through my fingers. Like, what's going to happen? Like, do you as a reader worry for her? Or do you feel like we've moved past it?
I feel like it's not going to be a problem in the short term because I just don't think she is going back to that life anytime soon.
Yeah.
Like, much bigger concern is how enmeshed she is in this world of villains, etc.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that she can't leave because there's nothing waiting for her. It's that she can't leave.
Right. And I care so much more about, like, the heart of Skitter than I do about, like, Taylor's ability to just, like, take off the mask and go back to being Taylor, right? Like,
it's just so clearly not going to happen.
And the focus of the story is so much on the Skitter half of it.
Right.
to date.
I did think while reading that, what does this mean for her future in society?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to have to be that enough changes and enough pieces fall in different places that she does enough sort of outside of the system good. Like, you know, she's got to save the world, and then it's not going to matter. Like, they'll be willing to wipe her record clean.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, fair.
Once she averts the apocalypse that Dinah says is definitely going to happen, then they will forgive her, and
for putting all those spiders on people.
She'll get an official pardon, and she'll be able to live her slightly weird, everyone knows what she looks like life.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. I also am just now thinking about what if superpowers aren't forever?
Ooh.
There was that thing about the two cosmic beings were going to meet again.
Yeah.
And is that when superpowers end? Do individual people's superpowers go away at different times?
Yeah, what would that mean?
It would be so weird to go back to a civilian life after you've been a cape. We've been talking so much about being a cape gives you just an ability to change things, influence events that being a civilian doesn't, like Taylor versus Danny. And it would be so hard to lose that.
Yeah.
It'd be so frustrating. You'd have to find some totally new purpose.
Yeah.
Really destabilizing.
Some of these, Taylor reflects on the full circle stuff when she's like, well, you got to join up to get the full details. And I do feel like she gets enough of the details, Charlotte does, from hearing Taylor talk to Sierra, that that's kind of part of what grounds her. It's also, I think, that just Charlotte's I'm not alone in this, right? There are other, Sierra's here and she's going to work for Skitter. And this is, this is something I can do. But then Sierra is basically can you keep Bryce prisoner until he comes to his senses? And I would if I thought it would do any good. He's only going to get angry and resentful at being locked up, and he'll be all the more eager to run. And is there any hint of irony here? This is Taylor in Arc 6, right? Danny locks her up.
Well, maybe, that's how she knows.
Yeah, but it's just, it's such a,
She doesn't think about it, yeah.
Yeah. And we also get, this wonderful moment where Sierra lets loose, right? She shouts, fuck, kicks the side of Bryce's bed. Is that supposed to be an excuse? No way he gets off that easy. He joined them, you said. He wasn't brainwashed when he fucking decided to go with him, right? Which is, again...
It's true.
She's the Danny analog in the situation. And Taylor here, is probably taking some of that
that's so
the
true.
Righteous family member being you did this with clear eyes.
Yeah,
And
she joined voluntarily.
Is Sierra going to forgive Bryce? And the other Danny parallel... Sierra was so focused on the responsibility, the blame, and the betrayal, it took her a few seconds to process the problems that came with getting her brother back. I could see it hit her, the idea that she might have to repeat the experience of losing her brother, with all of the same pain and worry, the moment he got a chance to slip away. This is how she was feeling seeing Danny back in the first chapter of this arc, right? And he's like, I want you to come home,
arc,
but I am not going to ask, because I can't take it. If I ask and you say no...
How dare you remind me of that?
The other thing where I was like, are you listening to yourself, Lisa? He was a scared, confused kid that was offered a community and the power to change things. It's like what cults do. They prey on people who are at their most vulnerable, people who are lost.
Uh-huh.
Oh, man. It's just Taylor joining the Undersiders, right? They're not a cult, but, it's all the same social dynamics, right?
Is it also Lisa joining the Undersiders?
Well, Lisa got real strong arms.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah.
But it did give her those things.
And she wasn't joining the Undersiders. She got recruited to Coil, and then he set up the team. Right?
I suppose.
Yeah.
No, but I just mean that the Undersiders probably gave her those things. I guess she, again, didn't really have a choice.
Yeah. It's just I can imagine, I don't really see Lisa this way, but I can imagine Lisa saying this and looking at Taylor and being like, do you not see what I'm saying? Do you not see the parallel here? And it is funny. Okay, so I need to celebrate the conversation between Taylor and Charlotte because it is so funny how many times Taylor puts her foot in her mouth.
Yeah.
It's Charlotte's like, you saved my life. Taylor's like, that's maybe an exaggeration. I saved you from being assaulted by those men, probably. And then she's like, I'm sorry. Right. It's like her automatic, like, self-deprecating deflection is so insensitive, right? And then Charlotte's like, you're going to tell me that if I ever open my mouth, you'll kill me. That is one option. Or theoretically speaking, I could hurt you or your loved ones. Right? Like,
Taylor, just be a little less honest and say, I would never do that.
Yeah, this is not part of the performance. This is like, I mean, and Taylor's exhausted. She's
just how she processes.
She's just being pedantic in the way that she is, right? Right. But she doesn't realize the effect that she's having. And
she's very bad at calculating her effect on people.
Yeah. So right, and she's somewhat self-aware about that. But it's so funny. And then she immediately says, look, you're going to have to forgive me if my ideas are a little rough around the edges, right? It's, again, she's just being very open.
Yes,
it's just a crazy thing to hear from the supervillain who controls bugs, who you just watched do all this amazing stuff.
Oh, man.
Oh, I wanted to call out when Sierra's getting angry, Taylor just says, guys, stop. And then everybody stops and listens to her. And I felt like this was a really big beat for Taylor, that she's being in control and actually just her words are enough, right? She's not using her power, but she is enough of an authority figure in the room that she doesn't need that coercive side.
Right. Though it is implied.
Yes, but I really liked that. I liked seeing that. Yeah, I mean, just the way Taylor starts the conversation, right? She's like sitting cross-legged on the bed, and then she just points and says, sit. I don't know what to do with you. Scariest possible way to start that conversation. And this is after she's like, oh, this will be good because Charlotte and I can talk. We need to fit, right? It's so funny.
Charlotte will figure out that she's just a weirdo.
I hope so. I
want them to become friends.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Taylor and her minions. Mm-hmm. All right, well, we are going into an interlude. So any final predictions before we get to that? Yeah, I mean,
I haven't really predicted anything about what's coming next.
Yeah.
I think that the Slaughterhouse 9 are going to have to become more prominent. We've had them teased so many times, and we haven't seen them yet.
Okay.
I wonder if Empire 88 is going to. I mean, the, gang formerly known as, especially the Chosen. Is that the scary half? Yeah. It's going to make trouble. Could be dangerous. Especially because Hookwolf is not very vulnerable to bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet there'll be a little bit more territory stuff for Taylor and especially the other Undersiders who are trying to do the same thing. Yeah. I would love to see the Undersiders together again soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's just going to be some more business with, territories and enemies.
Okay. Yeah. So, interlude. Yeah. Do you want to tell me some people you're thinking of? Or do you want a sentence?
Well, let me think about it first.
We've had a lot of your dreams come true recently.
That's true. That's true. Dragon. That was wonderful. I wonder if it's time for an Armsmaster interlude, just because it would be you can't just do another dragon one, and I want to know what dragon is, figuring out. And maybe she'll enlist Colin to help her. Also, this is totally random, but one of my main associations with the name Colin is the kid in the secret garden. And now Armsmaster is shut up in a luxurious room for the rest of his life, as Colin was going to have done to him. Okay, so could be fun to do Armsmaster for that reason. It feels like a weird time to get Panacea, though I do still want her interlude. I wonder if it's time for Brian.
Ooh.
We just had that conversation with him where it was like, oh, it seems like that was fast. And maybe that was almost
we'll get to see what's under the surface.
Yeah.
I'd be into it. I mean, these are all really good potential characters we haven't had interludes from yet.
Thank you, yeah. I feel like Charlotte or Sierra, it's too soon. Okay. We just saw so much from them. That's my gut. It'd be fun to see Trainwreck, because we might get to track some of what happens to the merchants next.
Yeah.
Don't think we'd get another of Fault Line's crew right now, because I think we're going to get a lot more information from them through Tattletale soon, so it might not be the right moment for that.
Yeah. Of Fault Line's crew, who would you most want to see an interlude from?
There are a lot of good options, but I think I would choose Shamrock.
Okay.
Because I want to see what that luck power feels like from the inside.
Yes.
Yeah. Shatterbird.
Why
not?
Amazing.
Why not? No, I think we'll stay on the outside of Slaughterhouse 9 for maximum fear factor.
That makes a lot of
moving
sense.
into the next arc.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Do you want the first line?
I would love the first line.
A howl tore through the air. It wasn't.
Me? No, I have no idea. A howl tore through the air. God, that's... I can only think of Bitch and her dogs, and I don't think it's going to be that again. That was so good. It's Panacea healing people, and someone screaming in pain.
Oh, could be.
I don't know.
Well, we will find out soon.
Next time.
On Inchworm. Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.